Welcome back, everybody. I was walking around last night trying to think what to do today, and I realized it's kind of been a while since I've mowed waterways. We try to do that a couple times a year, and got a couple, one here at my parents and then one a couple miles away, but try to keep them mowed down. And I was looking at the beans and they're getting pretty tall. You can see them back there. Yeah, it goes back in that cornfield a little ways. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get that done. And then there's a couple field boundaries that I'd like to spray the outside of, because I drove past them and the weeds are getting pretty bad around the outside. Because we hold back a couple rows whenever we spray, just so we don't get all up in the yards of people that live next to the fields. Just because I hate it when people do that. It drives me crazy. But yeah, get hooked up here and get moving. This right here is the crown jewel of all bush hogs. This thing is older in the hills, rusted out, but it works good for us. We actually used to mow hay with it, which is crazy, I know, but couldn't really afford a bush hog, so we cut. I think Dad put in, yeah, he put new plating on here now, but when, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, we cut right here and then right here and folded this whole flap straight up. So you had a little section in the front that held the made it so the blades couldn't hit the ground, and this whole section right here from about here to here was wide open and just raised up about like that, and it would shoot whole blades of grass straight out the side, and it actually worked pretty good. We did like 3-4 acres with it, which wasn't a whole lot, but it cut pretty clean. It would just leave entire stalks of grass laying out here. But then we started renting a hay blind off of one of our neighbors, and that worked a whole lot better, obviously. But yeah, now it's pretty well just a clapped out bush hog, but it works good for the 2 acres a year that we mow with it. Kind of one of them things you just throw in the weeds when you're done with it and drag it out whenever you need it. Doesn't really need much caretaking because it's a pile of garbage. But anyway, I got it hooked up and I think I'm ready to go. So we'll get started here. What a rig. Well, that looks a lot better. One thing I really don't like about mowing with this tractor is it leaves these long these long strips of grass right where the front tires go, since it's a narrow front. But I don't really know what to do about it. We already overlapped the back tire tracks of the previous pass, because that pushes them over, but then the next pass, if you overlap, you can kind of cut what that pushed over. But if you overlap the front tires, then you don't, I mean, you're only cutting 1.5 feet at a time, and obviously you can't do that. So it's kind of a give and take with this mowing with this tractor. It's got good power for it, but the downside is you do smash a lot more grass and it doesn't cut it quite as well. But it's kind of part of it. The other option is to put the 8000 on it, but I mean, that's just ridiculous. You'll be overhanging the sides of the bush hog to begin with, and second, has pretty much 150-foot turning radius, so turning around will be a nightmare. So we'll just keep using this thing. I really like that tractor though. Really handy size for running augers and planting and all the things we need it for. I don't think I'm going to load up and go to the next field yet. The next one is actually the outside of a field that I didn't plant this spring because it was too wet, and it's probably just going to be wet every year because it's river bottom ground. And but on the way back here to this waterway, I noticed the pasture that I had to drive by is actually getting pretty long too, so I'll probably do some mowing there, and I might be able to get some drone shots with that. opening too, so it goes. Man, it's so hot. That's it. Well, got the tractor loaded up. I'm heading to the next field, and it was a pretty tight fit trying to get on that trailer. I had to kind of push and shove on the ramps, but I got it. But one thing that I was really surprised about while I was mowing that pasture, watching the corn, or looking at the corn rather, it is amazing how far that stuff has come along. Back when I had that video about side dressing, it was looking pretty bad. I was like, there is no way this is even gonna clear 150 bushel an acre. But man, we got a bunch of rain and it is just turned around. It is like, I walked out through there and there's a lot of double ears, and I just randomly picked a couple. One was an 18 around and one was a 16 on the same stalk. And it's not like you can go through and hand pick the best ears right now because they all look the same. They're too small to notice any big differences. But so I just pulled a couple random ones off of one stalk. Now granted, that was in our better dirt in that field, but I was amazed at how nice that stuff looks. So we get a decent amount of rain still this year, and it'll be pretty good harvest, I think. Here's that spot we were looking at, or that I was talking about earlier, that we didn't plant. You can see the yellowed corn right there. It's just too wet. It lays wet all year long, pretty much. And so I couldn't even get through there with the planter this spring. So we decided just to leave it. It's about a 30-foot wide strip. Just leave it and keep it mowed, and it'll give us a spot to bring wagons in harvest time and start in with the combine and not be all tight up in this, trying to get started on this field. Well, this is pretty miserable. Oh my goodness, my back is killing me. I've walked around this whole field, which is only 6 acres, but it's about all I can do. Spraying the outside edges. Almost done. Just gotta get back to the truck. This poor truck, this thing gets abused. Well, I got everything mowed that I was hoping to today. Still got a little bit of pasture to do yet, but I don't know if I'll mow that or Dad or whoever, but it'll get done at some point. So for right now, I'm gonna get this thing unloaded and get it put away in the barn, and that'll probably be about it for me. Anyway, peace.